Today, we're going to talk about how to set your financial goals and make sure they stick. We're here at the end of December, and this is something that comes up every year when folks are reflecting and looking at what they want to accomplish in 2026. So we're going to help you avoid the pitfalls that a lot of folks make when they are making those financial goals.
Exactly. Setting them is easy, making them stick, much more challenging. So this is for somebody who has set financial goals in the past but didn't hit them. Maybe they started the year motivated, then got a little frustrated. Maybe they're in the same spot or worse than last year. The goals always sound good, but real life gets in the way. So as we look forward, what should we be doing?
All right. So let's go right into it. So first step, which I think we see a lot, is your plan isn't a plan. It's simply a dream. And this is effectively where folks have like a big lofty goal. They're motivated. They want to pay off debt. They want to save up for a house, you name it. And they just say, hey, in 2026, I want to accomplish this goal. But Julian, from where you see, what are some common mistakes that folks make when they are setting those goals?
Yeah, great question. So they're not always realistic with where they are today, or even writing down where they are today, right? So if you're looking at a map trying to go to Disney World or down the shore, Jersey Shore, you need to know where you are today so you know whether you need to make a right turn, a left turn, keep going straight, whatever it may be. And so they set these lofty goals with no real game plan for how to actually tackle it. Right? A plan consists of more than one line. It can't just be pay off debt. It has to have steps. What would you add?
Yeah. And I would say, to your point, is two things. It's when you don't really know where you are, it's really hard to create a realistic timeline. So if you say, hey, I want to pay off my $30,000 student loan debt in 2026, and if you don't really understand your cash flow, how much can you actually pay off monthly, you're just going to end up, one, probably not achieving the goal, and two, probably just being frustrated and feeling that, man, I just can't get out this debt. So understanding how long it's going to take. If you can only carve out $100, $200, $300 a month, you got to do that math. Like, this is going to take a while to pay off, but that clarity should also create confidence when you do put that goal into play.
Exactly. There's a desire to set aggressive goals, and we're very optimistic, right? Optimism is the only realism. But setting goals that sound impressive aren't necessarily livable, aren't doable. So you want a realistic goal with a realistic timeline, with a realistic plan that you can stick to, right? That's why 401ks tend to be so successful for folks, is because essentially it's automated, it's going for long term, and it's not something where every month they need to make changes or anything like that.
Yeah. And I think that's a good segue into the second point, which is, which I feel like I've been there as well. A lot of folks just rely on motivation, right? You get that bill, and we're just going to keep using student loans as the example, but you get the bill in the mail and you're like, that's it. I'm tired of looking at this. I'm going to put a plan into place, and you feel invigorated and motivated, and you think that is going to carry you through. And as one of my old mentors used to say, motivation is like a shower. It only lasts a day or two, right? So what is a way to really address that piece, Julian, you see?
Yeah, so the best way to stick to goals is to remove decision-making, right? If you're trying to save money, you shouldn't have to move what's left over in your account every month. It should be automated. Pay yourself first. If it's $200 a month, have that $200 move from one account to the other automatically every single month. You want to reduce the friction around good money habits, right? You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So everything needs to be as automated as possible. And then you can't assume that the discipline to do it will always show up, right? It's the same as going to the gym. It's not something where every morning you wake up and you're thrilled. You have to have that system in place.
And I would also add as well that those actions also have to be sustainable. If you feel very motivated and you're going to say, I'm going to use every discretionary dollar I have to pay off this debt. Realistically, you might be able to do that for a month.
Yep.
Maybe 2 if you're really motivated, but the year is long.
Exactly.
And having something that is just automatic. So for instance, I'll give folks an example. I have something I like to call a Pluto account. And it was named back when Pluto was still a planet. Okay. Shout out to Pluto.
Yep.
But Pluto is far away, untouchable, unseeable. So my direct deposits, when I was trying to save for like a long-term goal, I would split part of my direct deposit into that account. And it was an online account. I couldn't access the money with the ATM or checkbook. So it was just out of sight, out of mind. But I was able to save up for trips and pay off debt with that because I'd get my paycheck. I would even see it. So that is something I think a lot of folks tend to forget, that if you are relying on yourself to remember to make those changes, make those moves, you might end up frustrated down the line.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's almost better to create one new system each month throughout the year than put 12 in place at the beginning, right? Because if in the first month you're saying, hey, I'm going to automate my savings. In the second month, I'm going to automate paying down debt. Third month, I'm going to automate my 401k to a level that I'm comfortable with. That would be better than doing them all at once and then feeling restricted and somewhat inevitably burning out as far as trying to tackle those goals. Then you give up by March. You have 9 months of nothing moving forward.
Yeah. Which goes to point 3. Accountability isn't optional. Always have some form of accountability.
Yep.
Right. So with any goal, whether it is a system or a person or like a review, if you're not checking in regularly to see how far you've gone, right, for good things, right, to patch stuff on your back for progress, but also just really check in where you are. That is, I think, something that a lot of folks also miss a little bit of, just like having that coach.
You need an accountability buddy. Accountability buddy. But either way, you need someone who keeps you honest. It may be every day, it may be once a week, it may be once a month, but realistically checking in. So, for example, at our former firm, I used to sit next to a nice gentleman, Brooke. He is an avid listener, I know. And I was always beating him in, and that kept me very honest in terms of, if he beat me in those 10, 15% of times to the office, I knew, right, hey, today was an off day, I got to get back to it. But we were somewhat accountability buddies where I was keeping him honest, he was keeping me honest, and it keeps the ball really moving forward.
Yeah. And that also reminds me, speaking of Brooke, because he recommended this book to me, but something called 12-Week Year.
Yeah.
And if you're not familiar with the book, effectively the theory or the synopsis of it is a year is a long time. And when we plan goals, folks plan for 12 months. And when you start off in January, we all tend to think, oh, it's January, it's the beginning of the year, I have a lot of time to really get into this goal. But really, it's about building that momentum and setting those shorter time frames. So having yourself a quarterly check-in or quarterly goal, or like a goal by the end of the month, because that's going to keep you in line with the steps to achieve that goal over the 12-month period.
Exactly. If you never actually go back and check, and that doesn't mean laying in bed at night and being like, wow, I'm really missing the ball here. It means taking real proactive time. You go to a coffee shop, you're hanging out at home, TV's not on, and you're saying, okay, here's my goal. Here's where I'm at. What things do I need to change? It's actively working on your systems, your goal to move things forward. That's why the strategy reviews we have with families work so well, is because they're consistent. They're very much achievable goals that we're seeking. We're not looking at getting 17% a year in the market or something beyond what's been historically achievable every year, and then continuing to move that ball forward step by step, or brick by brick, as we like to say.
Yeah. And just having a plan, right? Not relying on motivation, having a plan, having something that's systematized, and then also having someone that keeps you accountable, right? Those 3 things can easily increase your probability of achieving not only your financial goals, but literally any goal by a good amount. Because sometimes it's what we need outside, third party, right? Like a lot of our families, they have goals. They're busy, they have work, they have family. Heaven forbid they want to relax and unplug, right? And that's how we serve. We say, hey, we're the quarterback driving the ball forward, reminding like, hey, we need to do X, Y, Z for their financial goals.
Exactly. What gets measured gets managed. You know, nobody wants to step on the scale, but if one of your goals is fitness, right, you have to do it as you're seeking to move forward. It doesn't need to be negative. It can be all positive, but you need to keep moving forward just one tiny step a day as you look at it.
Yeah. So if you're someone who's set financial goals before and didn't hit them, or you're just trying to avoid of getting into that same cycle of last year of having these big goals and not hitting them, the big moves are building a plan, relying on systems instead of motivation, and then also creating a system of accountability.
Yep. So to help with that, we put together a simple financial goal setting resource that walks through how to define realistic goals and put systems behind them. So let us know if you'd like access. We can send it right over as you seek to move forward and seek to continue to build on what you have.
Yeah. So thanks, folks, for listening. And also, thank you, everyone who keeps sending us topics to talk about. We always want to talk about what people want to hear about. So we really appreciate you for doing that. And if you're listening to this, have a good new year and good luck with those financial goals and reach out with any questions.
Absolutely. Happy New Year, everybody.